Buonasera e benvenuti su London One Radio. Questa sera parleremo nuovamente di questi aerei, questi voli che spesso ci hanno fatto un po' impazzire, soprattutto il periodo del Covid. Adesso ne parliamo insieme ad un giornalista britannico che ci darà alcuni suggerimenti su come anche cercare di risparmiare dei bei soldini durante questo nuovo anno 2023, perché non so se lo sapete, ma hanno già aperto nuove possibilità di prenotare i vostri voli per le prossime vacanze. Quindi ascoltate bene, seguite London One Radio, because today we are with Harry Wallop, a British broadcaster and journalist and consumer journalist here in the UK. So welcome to London One Radio.
Thank you for having me, Rosita.
I was just telling to our audience that we've been talking about airlines, especially airlines cost, I don't know for how many months during COVID, and now here again. So first of all, can you please explain to us what's going on with these airlines and if they also fixed all those delays we've experienced?
That's a great question. The answer is we can never be 100% certain that things are back to normal, but we look at Heathrow, obviously not just Britain's biggest airports, but one of the biggest airports, busiest airports in the world. That was where a lot of the problems were. They cut capacity and they literally limited the number of planes coming in and out, number of passengers coming in and out. They've announced that on October the 29th, all those capacity restrictions are over.
Oh, so finally.
So hopefully we finally get back to normal. Fingers crossed. And things seem to have calmed down. Anecdotally, things do seem to have calmed down compared with the summer, where things were undoubtedly difficult.
I think another topic quite important to understand, because now we are under a very big economic crisis here in the UK. Can you explain to us how much the inflation had an impact so far on the prices of flights as well?
Well, yes. So, I mean, flights started to go up actually quite a bit last year because it's all connected to the price of oil. An airplane takes a lot of fuel to take off and to land. So, yeah, but actually, the moment they aren't continuing to go up quite actually. I mean, they kind of jumped up and they sort of stabilized now. And everything is getting more expensive. There's no doubt about this, but we do know from booking patterns that people are sort of doing their own. They are already responding to the cost of living crisis. They are booking far more package holidays, where you get the guarantee you're locking in the price now. So you can book next summer's holiday. You're locking in the price, not just of the flight, but also the hotel and also maybe the food as well at today's prices. So that gives you some sort of confidence that you know what you're paying. That's one thing. And we know also, looking at the at some of the trends from the Expedia, what people are searching for, what people are booking. We know the sort of number one destination for people in Britain is Turkey, because Turkey is outside the EU, and the Turkish lira to the pound has fallen in comparison with the euro, but it hasn't in comparison with the Turkish lira. So you can still get very good deals to Turkey.
So we can say that British people are already booking their holidays for Turkey for next year, isn't it?
Yeah. So, Turkey's proving very popular.
Nice.
Some of the search times, people still. What's fascinating about the cost of living crisis, I can remember from the financial crisis of 2008-9. People still want, however tough life is, life is very tough for all sorts of people. People still want a touch of luxury and a touch of comfort.
Of course.
So, and people are, so one of these trends in this report that's been published by Expedia, but looking at tons of data that was pulled together by this company, this massive data company called Airlines Reporting Corporation, is that people are, for instance, going away for one night. They're flying abroad, but they're only going for one night. So maybe to Paris. Amsterdam's proving very popular because you can get a weekend.
Yes.
You can get an enjoyable weekend away in Europe. Feel like you've had a proper break. Go in the morning, come back the following evening, but you've only spent one night in a hotel. So that's again how people are reacting.
Right. According to the data that you basically analyzed, is there any like period of the month where we can try to save money and book some national or international flights?
Yeah. So this is what's so interesting because this Expedia report looks at 3.7 billion airline tickets all around the world. You can start analyzing the patterns, and it makes a difference depending when you book your ticket. So you can save money on not just on the day you choose to travel. That's kind of logical. But when you actually book that ticket, if you book it on a Sunday, you
Right.
can save 10% on an international flight compared with if you booked the same ticket but on a Friday, because prices are fluctuating the whole time for the same flights to the same destination. It can be cheaper depending on the day that you book that ticket.
But because we are like under fluctuations, how can people like understand that basically they need to avoid probably in the future to book their flights on a Sunday? You know what I mean? Because I don't think this type of criteria can be applied for the whole year, or is like.
No, so the Sunday is throughout the whole
Right.
year. Well, it's actually, if we're being strictly accurate, it's analyzing data from January through to August. But I think we can take
Right.
it as read that it's more or less consistent throughout the whole year. So you should book on a Sunday, but you should try and travel on a Friday. Friday is about 20% cheaper than if you travel on a Saturday. Now, not everyone is flexible and able to travel on a Friday, but if you can, it will be cheaper.
Try.
So, we kind of, modern consumers are used to the idea that if you want to hail one of the online taxi companies, the prices, you can see it almost fluctuating in real time. And that's kind of, we've got our heads around that. But of course, the airline industry pioneered this concept known as dynamic pricing years and years ago in the 1980s of it's all about selling seats according to supply and
Of course.
demand.
Well, I try to understand also the comments of some people, of our audience and listeners who experienced, to be honest, very bad days during the last few months, because most of the times their flights were being cancelled, and most of the time what happened to them is basically they didn't have any refund. So I hope that while they're trying to save money, they then don't lose their money, in the future. Do you think that basically the airlines can give some type of guarantee on their service in 2023?
Well, I mean, I have not got a crystal ball, and I don't know what's going to happen. But I think things are definitely improving. It was all caused by the global shortage of workers. It was a weird, we in the UK first thought, it was a uniquely British problem, that somehow lots of people have decided to stop working, to leave the workforce. But it turned out it was all around the world. It was in America, it was in Canada. I mean, from what I understand,
why do you think they got? Well, why do you think Britain had this major, journalist impact on the social services as well around the world? Everyone was talking about Britain was one of the worst amongst the other countries in terms of services.
Obviously, at the start, the assumption was it's Brexit. We've lost a lot of European workers. They've gone back to the EU, and I think that certainly was true in some very specific industry, in the haulage industry, for instance. There was terrible problems with deliveries, some healthcare. But in fact, if you start analysing the data, the far greater number of people who left the workforce were British born. They've just decided to stop working. It's people in their 50s. There's the phrase, the Great Resignation. It was coined in America because people in America have also, basically lockdown was weird. And people sat at home and though it was terrible for many people, a lot of people thought, this is great. I hate my job. I'm not going back to my job. And actually, if I've got savings, and a lot of people did have savings, or they had a pension, I'll retire early. And that's what's happened. Or people have switched jobs. Younger people have thought, I hate my job, I'll go to another job. But then you have certain industries who are just desperately short of workers. And that is one of the causes of inflation, again, all around the world. It's not just the invasion of Ukraine. It's not just the price of oil. It's the shortage of workers. Everyone's having to pay more money to get these workers on board. And if you're like an airline, you're paying your staff, your pilots, your crew more money, you've got to put up the prices.
Exactly. You know, this is something which is affecting not only the airlines, but we are seeing also the rail services. And even in the future, there's going to be a lot of people who are trying to not going to work and protest against the condition, the working condition, and also their salary. So do you have, like, as a journalist, did you understand that probably in the future, there are going to be at the airlines some people who decide to, you know, don't go to work and leave the things as it is because they want a bigger salary? And probably some more hours to spend with their families, have more holidays.
I think what is interesting is it's often not about salary, it's about quality of life. And a lot of people have thought, I only want to do this job if I can spend more time with my family, if I can get decent holiday, and also it's the flexibility. That was the other thing that COVID kind of taught us, is the importance of being able, I can work from home now. I can't if I'm an airline pilot, but a lot of jobs you can. Jobs that you thought were not possible to do from home, you can do from home. And some people quite liked it, not all the time, but some of the time. So I think that's the future of work, is that people, you know, the companies that will flourish and succeed are those that will give workers the freedom to be a bit flexible and to choose to work from home, whatever, Monday and Friday.
But this is quite interesting to understand that is not only Brexit, because most of the people, even in Italy, you know, other reporters from Italy were saying, because of Brexit, there's shortages of people, of workers in the UK. It's not like that, because we had several type of dynamics, including the war in Ukraine. And anyway, the COVID had a strong impact on the lifestyle of people. So this is quite interesting to understand, but also to know that there are incredible hacks in order to save money while you're booking your flights. And thank you, Harry Wallop, to being with us on London One Radio to try to understand that. The only thing quite important to our listeners, how can they check this data that you were talking about? Is it open to public?
Yes. So the best thing they should do is they should go online and search for, because the report was put together by Expedia and they put a blog up on their website. So if you search for Expedia Airline Hacks 2023, so it's all about, you know, next year's holiday. There's a big rundown of the top hacks, top tips, whatever you want to call it, ways to save money, best days to book, best days to travel, best days to avoid cancellations.
Right. So please go through this website and try to save money during this difficult period of time that we're experiencing in the UK and across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.